because we all know that the equinoxes are, sorry, I move around too much. The equinoxes are very important to nature, but I do a little bit of work with the Paralander, and anybody who's worked in an energy session with me knows that I do it's called a coning with the Deva of healing and also of pan with nature for manifestation. So I found this kind of last minute, and what they were doing at Paralander was testing the soil during the equinox with a radionics machine, actually. And they found that um, I have a PDF. Hopefully, I'll put it down underneath, but I'm just going to stay here for a few minutes because I am going outside 15 minutes before the equinox, which I pretty much think is at 5:24 on Eastern time. And if you're watching this a little bit later and you're at a different time zone, you can probably go catch it and be outside quicker than this was for folks. And I'm actually going down to my lakefront. It's covered with snow right now, but that is one of the sunsets that we had a little bit a few years ago. And it is all about the life vitality that is released on the equinox. And at the exact time of the equinox, you have life vitality from nature. Now, this is going to happen whether you're there or not, but it's also really cool to go ahead and say, that you wish to include your garden, if you'd like to, or your personal life cycle in the equinox rhythm and get a boost of life vitality for the spring. Springtime, thank goodness there was sun here today. Oh my goodness, we've been in the snow and cold. But it was so nice to just sit in the sun for just a few moments and feel the sun's warmth, and that it's opening up for spring. So it was really cool. So let me find just a few things about this, and I'll put the PDF in. Tested by the radionics, and if you're in a different hemisphere and all that sort of thing, then it's not obviously not spring. But for us here in the eastern US, it is. And it is, of course, our energy rhythms are tied to nature. And I'll just read this. Nature's new year in the beginning of its annual growing cycle begins in the fall. Let's get down to, and the summer solstice, when the spring equinox, even a greater amount is released. Fall a little bit, winter not so much. Spring, it gets better. I have the graph up there. The highest amount of life vitality for nature is released in summer when your garden is growing. Now, Paralander is all about gardens, but if you've ever seen them at all, they talk about a soilless garden. And actually, a garden is not natural if you think about it, because we are putting plants in a place where they normally would not grow together. So a garden is a human created thing, but there's also soilless gardens because a business can be something that's put together by humans, and you can work with nature with it. It's a really cool process. Also, I've gone through the whole 400-page book of microbiome balancing with nature, which is really, really cool. It's an energetic process of microbiome balancing. It's really awesome, actually. And it should have been done a lot over the last few years, which I didn't really do a whole lot with, but I love that process. It's really cool. It's got a triad in there. It's really cool. Anyway, but in the spring equinox, even a greater amount is released, and you can actually observe the equinox and solstice. It's a few page PDF that I suggest reading if you like working with nature and being in nature and haven't seen it this way before. But for the spring equinox, just focus on the physical preparations that are required to bring the garden into form and fruition, or your life force, your new, maybe a new juncture, a new project into form and fruition for the spring, and give it a boost of life force. Just to observe and participate just 15 minutes prior to the precise moment in which we are close to in the in Eastern time. Remain quietly focused for 15 minutes after the precise time, and the amount of quiet time you spend prior to and after each one can be as long as you wish, but not shorter than 15 minutes, they recommend. So you can do it right at 5:24 and be 15 minutes after. I'm going to go run down on my property, and we've got a beautiful overcast. Let me well, actually, it doesn't matter. We're doing this. You can light a, you can light a candle, you can do a bell, you can do chimes, you can do crystals, whatever you like, but that's just for yourself. And just know that, that it's your message to nature that you're participating in this life force vitality release that is happening at about 5:24 Eastern time, if I have my calculations right. So you can go ahead and Google it or whatever for your time zone if you are in a different time zone. So I am going to run down to the lake and just participate with nature for a few moments. And happy equinox, everybody.